Welcome to the Purple Party, known as Purple Nerd Channel, home for all those who geek out on all things Prince related. Graffiti Bridge was released on August 20th, 1990 in the UK and the following day in the US. The album peaked at number 6 on the Billboard Top 200 and number 1 in the UK, while making it into the top 10 of 10 other countries, selling just under 700,000 copies worldwide on its initial release. This album serves as the soundtrack for the film of the same name, written and directed by Prince and released on November 2nd, 1990. I did a video about all the craziness behind the making of said film, and I will have a link to that video at the end of this video. Aside from the movie promoting this album, several singles were released, those being Thieves in the Temple, which hit number 1 on the R&B charts, number 6 on the Billboard Top 100, and number 7 in the UK. Round and Round, which peaked at number 3 on the R&B charts, as well as number 12 on the Billboard Top 100. New Power Generation, which topped off at number 27 on the R&B charts. Melody Cool, which peaked at number 36 on the R&B charts. Shake, which somehow did not chart. And Can't Stop This Feeling I Got, which was only released in the Philippines. Music videos were released for Round and Round, The Question of You, Thieves in the Temple, and New Power Generation. A video was filmed for the song number 1, but was never released. The Times album Pandemonium was released a month prior to this album, who also star in the film. Prince started compiling songs for the project Graffiti Bridge back in 1987, which was the same year he started to write the script for the film, which would go through multiple rewrites over the next 3 years. Only 2 songs are newly written compositions, as the rest are reworkings of pre-existing vault tracks. And as I go through each song on this album, I will go through the history of each one of these songs. Unlike Purple Rain, which this movie is a sequel of, songs not performed by Prince in the film are actually on the album, although not all the music featured in the film ended up on the soundtrack, like the film's score and the songs Blondie, Jerk Out, and Chocolate by The Time, as well as Number 1 by Robin Power. So let's go ahead and explore the music of Graffiti Bridge. We open up with Can't Stop This Feeling I Got. The song was originally recorded by Prince in 1982. That version is just under 3 minutes long, and it kind of feels like an unfinished track, as almost like it was an idea he was just trying to get out there, and that he would come back later and finish, which he did as he reworked the song in 1986 with The Revolution. Only to rework the song again by himself in 1990 for this album. The 1982 version was included on the 1999 Super Deluxe Edition, while the 1986 version with The Revolution unfortunately still remains unreleased. Next is New Power Generation. New Power Generation was originally recorded in 1982 as the song Bold Generation, with Morris Day on drums and Prince basically handling everything else. It's rumored that the song was meant for the Times album What Time Is It, but this information has never been confirmed. Prince would rework the song in 1990 as New Power Generation, with Morris Day's drum playing staying intact, but adding Rosie Gaines to background vocals, as well as Prince himself and Levi Caesar Jr. adding samples and additional instruments to the song. Lyrically, the theme is pretty much the same, but with most of the chorus and a lot of the verses being new, with only a few of the original lines still remaining. Bold Generation was included on the 1999 Super Deluxe Edition. Next is Release It.
Let's get hype, y'all. Release it.
This song is credited to The Time, with Morris Day on lead vocals and Prince on background vocals while also playing all the instruments. This song was originally included on the Times album Corporate World, scheduled to be released in 1989 before being replaced with the album Pandemonium. I did a video about the Abandoned Corporate World album, and I will have a link to that video at the end of this video. The song is dominated by this awesome drum loop, which is actually a sample of Tower of Power's Squib Cakes, released in 1981. Next is The Question of You. This song was originally recorded in 1985 by Prince, Sheila E., Levi Caesar Jr., and Eric Leeds as an instrumental called 12 Keys. Prince would build the song The Question of You off the melody of this particular instrumental, adding the final touches to it in 1990. Unfortunately, the song 12 Keys still remains unreleased. Next is Elephants and Flowers. Elephants and Flowers was originally recorded in 1988 for Prince's album Raven to the Joy Fantastic that he stopped working on in order to work on the Batman soundtrack. I actually did a video about this canceled project, which, not to be confused with the album he actually released in 1999 of the same name, but this would have been the original 1988-89 version, which again, I did a video for that abandoned project, and I will link to that video in the description down below. Prince would rework the song in 1989, altering the lyrics and making some very subtle differences to the music, and adding this updated version to this album. Unfortunately, the 1988 version of the song still remains unreleased.
No sex, no drugs, no devil here, just good old rock and roll.
Next is Round and Round.
We can talk all we want to, but the world still goes around and round.
Round and Round is credited to Tevin Campbell, with Tevin Campbell on lead vocals, Prince on background vocals, and Prince playing all the instruments. This is one of the two new songs that was recorded for this album. The song would also be included on Tevin Campbell's album Tevin, released several months after Graffiti Bridge. Next is We Can Funk. This song was originally recorded in 1983 as We Can with The Revolution. Prince would rework the song in 1986 with Mickey Free on lead vocals, but ended up scrapping this song completely. Prince would revisit his 1983 version of the song in 1989, renaming it We Can Funk and rewriting all the lyrics, with some additional instruments added to the track. In 1990, Prince would add George Clinton to the song, as Prince shares lead vocals with him, and George Clinton's band provides the background vocals. The 1983 version of this song was included on the Super Deluxe edition of Purple Rain. Next is Joy in Repetition.
There's joy in repetition. There's joy in repetition.
Recorded in 1986 by Prince with Susanna Melvoin doing background vocals, this song was originally included on the triple album Crystal Ball, which would be edited down to the double album Sign the Times. This song was left unchanged from its original recording and simply added to this project. Next is Love Machine. Love Machine was originally recorded in 1989 by Prince and Jill Jones, with being reworked only a few weeks later after this original recording, which Prince would keep the music the same but kind of clean up the lyrics as they were pretty vulgar on the original cut of the song.
Don't lie, you want some hair that'll make you cry. 17 toes looking from the neck down.
And then add Morris Day and Jerome Benton to lead vocals, with Elisa singing the chorus, essentially removing all of Prince's vocals as well as Jill Jones' vocals. This song was planned to be on the Abandoned Time album Corporate World, but moved over to this project when that project became Pandemonium. Unfortunately, the Prince and Jill Jones version of the song still remains unreleased. Next is Tick Tick Bang.
Bang, bang, all over you. Bang, 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 bang.
This song was originally recorded by Prince in 1981. Prince would do a complete overhaul of the song in 1989, rebuilding the song off a sampled drum loop from Jimi Hendrix's Little Miss Lover from 1967. Sadly, the 1981 version of the song still remains unreleased. Next is Shake. Shake was recorded by Morris Day, Prince, and Jenna Anderson in 1989 and planned to be on the aforementioned album Corporate World. When that album was canceled, Prince went ahead and moved it over to this project, crediting the song to The Time. Next is Thieves in the Temple. This is the other new song that was recorded for this project. In the song, Prince is speaking biblically as your body is a temple, and he feels as though he is being surrounded by evil that wants to possess and penetrate said temple, ultimately destroying the spirit of his temple. And if you think the album version of this song is incredible, check out the 8-minute Thieves in the Temple remix, a lot of times referred to as the Thieves in the Temple extended mix, which was featured on the maxi single of this particular song, which I did a video for, and I will have a link to that video in the description down below. Which this longer version, even though it's over 8 minutes long, is by far my favorite version of this song. Not saying that the album version isn't good, because it is, as I said before, incredible, but the longer version just takes it someplace else. Oh, and I almost forgot, they released a music video for this longer version as well. And I just found out like maybe a week or two ago that the harmonica that you hear is actually a sample, and it comes from the Chamber Brothers song I Can't Stand It from 1967. Next is The Latest Fashion. The Latest Fashion was originally recorded by Prince in 1987 and reworked in 1989, adding Morris Day to lead vocals and including it on the abandoned Corporate World album. Although 2 months later, Prince would rework the song again, using the music from the song My Summertime Thing, a song that would be featured on the Times album Pandemonium. Sadly, the 1987 Prince version and the 1989 Corporate World version of this song both still remain unreleased. Next is Melody Cool. Similar to the last song, Prince recorded this song in 1987. And then reworked it in 1989, slightly changing the lyrics and adding Mavis Staples as lead vocals, as she actually plays the character Melody Cool in the film Graffiti Bridge. Prince would also go and add the Steels to background vocals. The song would be included on Mavis Staples' album The Voice, released in August of 1993. And of course, Prince's 1987 version of the song still remains unreleased. Next is Still Would Stand All Time. Still Would Stand All Time was originally recorded in 1988 by Prince for the aforementioned abandoned Rave Until the Joy Fantastic project. The original version had slightly different lyrics than what the later version would be on Graffiti Bridge, and also originally had more of a bluesy feel to it. He would make the changes to the lyrics in 1989, also adjusting and adding some more instruments to the song as well, and adding the Steels, Jill Jones, and The Time to background vocals. The original 1988 version of the song unfortunately still remains unreleased. Next is Graffiti Bridge.
Everybody wants to find Graffiti Bridge, something to believe in, a reason to.
Prince recorded this song back in 1987 with Sheila E. on drums, Levi Caesar Jr. on bass, Bonnie Boyer on organ, and Prince playing all the other instruments. In 1989, Prince would add orchestration to the song, of course provided by Claire Fisher as always, as well as adding vocals from Mavis Staples and Tevin Campbell. The 1987 version, although very similar to what we get on this album, has unfortunately never been released. There is a song out there that you can find called Bridge of Graffiti, which actually has no ties to this song, to this film, or even mention in any of the original scripts, which there's multiple versions of the scripts, as again it went through multiple rewrites before it actually got filmed. So we close out with New Power Generation Part 2. This is a continuation of the second song on the album and features a rap by T.C. Ellis, with some additional background work by Robin Power, Elisa, and Tevin Campbell. We would get like a standalone, separate, isolated version of him rapping on this particular melody as its own song on the New Power Generation maxi single, which I did a video for, and I will link to that video in the description down below. He also turned this verse into a full song called True Confession, released on his album True Confessions in May of 1991. Let me just be completely upfront with you. I absolutely love this album. And sure, it does sound like a collection of songs versus a fully fleshed out themed album. But honestly, if it was released similar to the way that they released Purple Rain and dare I say Parade, where you only featured the songs performed by Prince on the album and cut everybody else out, thematically you would almost get a Love Sexy Part 2, which I'm cool with that concept as well, because I like that album. But it's a direct companion piece to the film, as the songs go in the same order as they do in the film. Thank you for joining me on this episode. Please like and share this video, and if you would, please subscribe to the channel. It actually does help the channel grow. And if you have a moment, go ahead and check out my Patreon page. I will have a link to that in the description down below. I will see you in the next episode where I talk about an album that we knew was a collection of vault tracks, but what we didn't know is that most of those tracks came from a film soundtrack that was canceled. And until the next episode, I wish you heaven.